Tonight's video is Chapter 7, Lesson 4. We're going to find percents of a number, and it's all going to be, guess what, mental math. Woo-woo! So here's all of the questions we're going to do. We're going to do 50%, 25%, 10%, 15%, 5%, and each of them have a fabulous strategy. So we're going to talk about 50% first. So if you want to find 50% of 18, our strategy is going to be divide by 2. So 18 divided by 2 is 9. Our second example, 50% of 34 is 34 divided by 2, answer 17. How about 50% of 210? 210 divided by 2. Do you have the answer yet, mental math? If not, no shame. If you want to come over here and do some scratch work, would be 105. 50% of, let's do an odd number. 50% of 19. So it won't be an even number. It's going to be a decimal because 18 was nice and pretty. So it's going to be 9.5. If you want to work it out, 19 divided by 2, 2 goes into 19 9 times. Add a dot, add a 0, 9.5. Let's do 50% of, let's do 50% of 16.25. How now, brown cow, what you gonna do? Well, I'm gonna have to do some scratch work is what I'm gonna have to do. 16.25 divided by 2 is 8.125. So I kind of did that in my head a little bit. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Bring down 4, bring down. Okay, so final answer was 8.125. If we're trying to find 50% of something, that's half. Half is, guess what, dividing by 2. Okay, next one is 25%. 25%. I'm going to give you two strategies. Option 1, divide by 4. Option 2, cut it in half and cut it in half again. Either one, doesn't matter. You want to divide by 4, if that's easier, do that. If you want to divide by 2 and divide by 2 again, that's also nice. So let's have our first one be 25% of 80. Well, I can either do 80 divided by 4, or I can do 80 cut in half and 40 cut in half. Either way, I get an answer of 20. How about 25% of, of 200? So I can either do 200 divided by 4 or 200 divided by 2, and that answer divided by 2. Cut it in half and cut it in half again. Answer is 50. How about 25% of 30? Oh, well, if I cut it in half, 30 goes down to 15. Now I gotta cut 15 in half, goes down to 7 and a half. So they don't always have to be whole numbers. How about 25% of blah, 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 4.6? Yeah, why not? 4.6. I think I'm gonna divide this time because I feel like it. 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 6 once, with 2 left over, add a 0, 1.15. There's my answer. All right, 10%. 10% is super nice. All we're going to do is hop left 1 hop. 10 has 1 0, so it's only 1 hop. We're going to hop backwards to the left once. All right, let's work these out. 10% of 62. Hop backwards once, I get 6.2. 315, I get 31.5. 9.2, 0.92. Remember, we're hopping left. Hopping left, hopping left, hopping left. 600, have you already thought of it? It is 60. And whole number 3 is 0.3. Okay, our last one is 5%. Oh, it's not our last one, just kidding. 5% strategy. Okay, here's what I would think. 5% is first you find 10%, then cut it in half. So hop and then cut it in half. All right, so let's try 5% of 30. So first thing we're going to do is make it 3 because we're going to hop backwards. Then we're going to cut 3 in half to get 1.5. 88, we're going to hop backwards to make it 8.8 and then cut it in half to make it 4.4. 10, we're going to hop backwards to make it 1, cut it in half to make it a half, 4.5. 12, we're going to hop backwards 1 and then cut it in half. We're going to hop backwards 1 and then cut it in half. There we go. Okay, 15%. 15% is, the strategy is, find 10%, find 5%, and add them together. Find 10, find 5, and add them together. All right, let's try these. 15% of 90. So 10% is 9. Half of 9 is 4.5. So if we add them together, we get 13.5. 6.4, if I go 10% and half of 10%, and then I add it together, I get 9.6. If I do 10% of 120 and half of that 10%, I add them together and get 18. 10% of 40, half of that 10%, add them together and I get 6. Now, 15% is a common amount to tip a waiter or waitress. So if your bill was $40, you should leave them 6. Now, do you have to exactly leave them 6? No, you can leave them 7, 8, 9, 10. If they were a really good waiter or waitress, you can leave them 3 or 4 if you don't think they were quite so good. But 15% is a common tipping amount. But kind of anymore, people are going to 20%. Oh, hey, now let's do 20%. I didn't have it on the list originally, but we can do 20%. Why, yes, we can. 20% strategy. Have you thought of it yet? Take 10% and double it. 10% and times by 2. All right, we're going to find 20% of 30. So 10% is 3 and double it to make 6. 20% of 75. Well, first we find 10% and then we double it and we get 15. 20% of 12. First we find 10%. Then we double it and we get 2.4. First we find 10% of 8 and then we double it and we get 1.6. Now, if you can't do all this mental math, it's fine. You can work stuff out. But I'm just showing you options if you'd like to try mental math. And the reason that I thought of 20% is a lot of tips now are 20%. Tipping used to be 15, and we've kind of bumped it up to 20. All right, you have one and only one question of the video, and it is explain the strategy for finding 25%. Explain your strategy. What strategy do you want to use? Even if it's different than what I said, or I gave you 2 options, just pick one. Explain your strategy. Go.